YouTube, we got a 2004 Chevy Silverado 1500 two-wheel drive. This one's going to be pretty quick. Front shocks, they're real simple, 3 bolts, and this process will be the same on most of your General Motors vehicles. They may vary a little bit by hardware, but pretty much the same process. So we have the vehicle lifted up, tire off. I should be replacing those springs, but we are just going to work on the shock today. You can see that oil from the shock failing, so if you see oil dripping down the side of your shock, that's a good indicator that it's time to replace it. So what we're going to do is start on the top. I have a vice grip, just holding it in place. Now I could take the wheel liner out and make this a lot easier, but I'm being lazy, so we'll just get at it. And this is a 15 millimeter, what I have on here now. We're just going to spin that off. Once we get that out, we'll just move this bolt out of the way, and we'll head down to the bottom section where we have 2 more. Now we'll get these out and we'll slide the shock right out of that little spot that it's in, and the spring's going to stay in place. Springs being held in. So right here I have 2 13 millimeters on the bottom. Your hardware may be different depending on the maker of the shock you have, or if your hardware's been replaced. But we're going to spin this out. Now when I'm spinning this one out, I'm prepared to catch it because I know it's already loose at the top. So once that bolt comes loose, just know that weight's going to come down. Slide it out at an angle, because the height that you have from the ground, if you're working on a lift, then you're good. You could just lower it straight down. But if you're working in the driveway, just like that, pull it out. Now the new one, we're going to slide right through the spring, and then the top of the shock needs to fit right through that hole, and the bolt's going to go on top. So from here, we're just going to slide it up and in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my hand on the bottom, and I'll rotate the bottom to line up with the bolt holes, but I'm going to use my hand on the top. I'll use my left hand on the top so that I can kind of align it to slip in the hole. Once I get it through the hole at the top, you'll see I'll spin it on the bottom to line up the bottom bolt holes. At that point, I'm holding the top of the shock in place, and I'm just going to grab the bolts with my free hand and pop them right in the bottom. So once you have that set, you can kind of spin them in, get those all set up, and then what I'm going to do is tighten those up all the way before I move to the top of the vehicle. And then once we tighten up that top bolt, we're set at that point. The shock's going to be in, and we'll be able to move to the other side of the car. So right here, we're going to spin these in. Again, you do want to get your torque wrench, torque them all down. Something you're not going to see on video. But moving to the top, we'll get this strut mount set up, pop that on, get your bolt, get that on the top. Then what we're going to do is just, whether you have power tools or not, spin that thing on, get it nice and tight, and you're set. Remember, hit that subscribe.